Hello everyone, today I am replacing the water pump and the thermostat on my Toyota MR2 Mark III. This is going to split away into two separate videos, but at the beginning the procedure is the same. So we start off by removing this plastic tank here. There's no nuts or bolts, it's just on rails. And then we've got some access to the drive belt system. Now it's important that you map out the drive belt so that you know exactly how it goes back on. I have spent a bit of time looking at it, and if you want to take a look at this and maybe pause the video to study it, that is what I have worked out. And we're going to be replacing the water pump. For the next step, we need to remove the drive belt. That involves having a 19mm socket on the drive belt tensioner just there, and then you push your torque wrench or your spanner forward towards the front of the vehicle, and that will start to loosen the drive belts. And then you got to try and slip the drive belt off a smooth surface. Okay, so the drive belt slipped off easily enough. If you're intending on replacing your drive belt, this one is from the Gates Rubber Company, and the part number seems to be 6PK1693. We need to remove the engine mount. Step one is to take these three nuts off the engine mount from underneath the vehicle. They are 14mm, and the nut is at the end of quite a deep stud, so you'll need tube sockets. So I've got a 14mm 3/8 drive tube socket. It's actually attached to 3 extensions, so I can get around about 50 centimeters of reach down past the oil sump here and swing on it with a power bar. Okay, so we're taking the top of the engine mount off. This nut in the center is 17mm. I had to swing on that pretty hard. I actually thought I was going to break something, but it did come off in the end. Next, you've got 3 14mm nuts to remove. That's one of them there as a guide. There's another one on the other side there, and the third one involves taking the wheel off, getting under the wheel arch, and that is it there. Alright, it is business time with the water pump. Now I have removed the engine mount in its entirety, including the bracketing, which is bolted to the head. You don't have to do that, I've just done it to get a better camera angle. There are 6 bolts holding in the water pump. That's an example. They're all 10mm in diameter. You can get in there with a 1/2-inch socket drive system. That is number 1 at the top dead center as an example, but there is 2, 3, and 4. There is a 5th one you can get to by feel at the bottom dead center that I can't reach with the camera, and then there is the 6th one right there. That one actually snapped off, and I have half a stud stuck in the head, so not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. We'll figure it out later. Do be careful as a note. You want to take the bolts out and store them carefully because they're different lengths, and you need to put the same bolts back in the same places. Okay, moment of truth. This is an exactly 20-year-old from March 2001 with 104,000 miles on it. 1ZZ water pump. So a little bit of rust on the impeller, but quite a bit of corrosion to the body, but not that bad. And as for the water pump mount, that is the kind of mess you can expect to clean up. Do not forget to remove the rubber O-ring. That's the original there. And here we have the OEM and the aftermarket water pump side by side. As I said before, when I removed the bolts one by one, I substituted them into the new water pump so I couldn't mix up where they came from. The new one is a Faren FAC0110. I got it off eBay for about 22 British pounds. I'm going to put a link in the description for that. It also came with a new O-ring. Some people put a dab of silicone on a couple sides of the O-ring to help it adhere to the recess in the block so it doesn't accidentally fall off during installation. The other thing is, when you're doing these bolts back up, be sure to work your way around in a circuit and torque them up to a consistent torque setting. And then you're finished.